$203. That's how much real money my AI trading agent bought, protected with a stop loss, and then completely forgot existed. For over 8 hours, during a live trading day, with the position still sitting open on the exchange the entire time. Nobody caught it. Not the bot. Not any of the 6 scripts that are supposed to be watching it every 5 minutes. I only found out because I looked at my account late in the afternoon and asked a simple question. Didn't this get sold when the market closed? It hadn't. And figuring out why turned into one of the stranger debugging sessions this channel has covered, because the bug wasn't in the trading logic at all. Quick context on how this is supposed to work. Every morning, a chain of scheduled scripts wakes the system up, checks account health, scans for setups, and places entries directly through the brokerage's API. No AI in the loop for the actual button press, on purpose, because an AI assistant will correctly refuse to place unattended real money trades if you ask it to. Once a position opens, a separate monitor is supposed to check it every 5 minutes. Is it up enough to take a partial profit? Has it hit its stop? Is it time to close for the day? 2 positions opened that particular morning at 7:40. One in Salesforce, one in Exxon. Both filled clean. Both got a real protective stop placed on the exchange within seconds. Both showed up correctly in the tracking file when I checked in on it that morning. Standard day. Nothing about the setup looked unusual. Salesforce turned out fine. Its stop loss did exactly its job later in the day. No drama. Exxon is the one that mattered. Sometime between 8 a.m. and 1 in the afternoon, Exxon quietly disappeared from the bot's own tracking file. Not sold, not flagged, just gone, as if the position had never existed. Meanwhile, on the actual brokerage account, all 1.44 shares of it were still sitting there, completely real, completely exposed, protected by nothing but the original stop order from that morning. The end-of-day closing process ran right on schedule at 1:45. It checked its own tracking file, saw 0 open positions, sent me a tidy little all clear, nothing to do notification, and closed out the day. It had no idea Exxon existed. Not because anything crashed. Every single scheduled task that day reported success. $203 sitting completely unmonitored, and every system involved thought everything was fine. The first place I looked was the log file everything writes to, and the log told me something worse than an error would have. Nothing. A 5-hour stretch from about 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. with 0 entries from any of the position monitoring scripts. Not a crash. Not a warning. Silence, like the monitor had simply stopped existing for half the day. Eventually, I traced it to a single flag in the shared state file, one word that says what phase the trading day is in. The morning entry script has a rule. If it scans for new breakout setups and doesn't find any, it marks the day's phase as done, on the assumption that nothing else is left to do. That assumption was wrong, and it was wrong in a very specific way. The position monitor has its own rule. Only run if the phase says the day is still active. The entry script finding 0 new setups had nothing to do with whether Exxon, bought earlier that same morning, still needed watching. But because both scripts read the exact same flag, one script's nothing new to enter silently turned into another script's nothing left to manage for a position that very much still existed. 2 correctly written scripts agreeing on a shared signal that meant 2 different things to each of them. The fix once found is almost embarrassingly small. Before the entry script marks the day as done, it now checks one thing first. Are there any open positions at all? If there are, it leaves the day marked active, no matter how the breakout scan went. 0 new setups today is not the same fact as 0 positions to manage today, and the code finally treats them as two separate questions instead of one shared flag. Small diff. But it's the kind of bug that doesn't show up in a code review because every individual script does exactly what it was told to do. The gap was between them, not inside either one. Here's where this stopped being a normal bug story. While live testing that exact fix, watching the position monitor to confirm it would actually pick Exxon back up, the whole system's connection to the brokerage quietly died mid-test. The saved login session had expired sometime that afternoon, which happens eventually to any of these. No big deal on its own, except when the script tried to silently refresh it with no human around to type a password. The failed refresh attempt didn't just fail cleanly. It overwrote the previously good session file with an empty one. 0 bytes. Every script that touches the brokerage account, entries and exits alike, was now locked out at the exact moment I was mid-repair on a completely unrelated bug. No amount of code can fix that from the inside. Getting back in required a real human, typing a real password into a real terminal, completing a verification code sent to an actual phone. The most autonomous trading system in the world still has a hard dependency on someone being reachable. The deeper takeaway isn't really about this one flag or this one expired session. It's that an autonomous system can have every individual piece working exactly as designed and still fail at the seams between the pieces, the places where one script's assumption quietly becomes another script's blind spot. And it's not just the trading logic that needs watching. The connection to the brokerage itself, the thing every other piece depends on, turned out to be a silent single point of failure with zero warning before it broke. Nothing about this was the AI made a bad trade story. The AI never touched the actual buy or sell decision that mattered here. It was a bookkeeping flag and an expired login, both invisible until a human happened to ask the right question at the right time. Here's where it landed. Exxon's position got manually restored into tracking using the real verified numbers straight from the brokerage account. Nothing guessed, nothing assumed. The entry script now checks for open positions before it's allowed to mark the day complete. And 2 smaller safety nets went in alongside it. Every notification that silently fails to send now leaves a trace instead of vanishing without a record, and a new diagnostic log captures the exact price the monitor sees at every single check, not just the ones where it decides to act. That last one exists because of a second, smaller mystery this same week: profit-taking exits that were firing at a fraction of a percent instead of the 2% they were supposed to. Different bug, same lesson. If you can't see what the system saw the moment it made a decision, you can't tell the difference between working as intended and quietly broken. $203 never actually got lost. The stop-loss protecting it was real the entire time, and the position closed out fine in the end. But the outcome being fine doesn't mean the failure wasn't real. A live position with 0 active monitoring for 8 hours is exactly the kind of gap that goes unnoticed right up until the day it doesn't. That's the honest version of autonomous. Not that it never breaks. That when it breaks in ways nobody designed for, and the fix is usually smaller and stranger than the symptom made it look. Next up, whether the actual profit-taking logic is really firing at the right price now that there's a log built specifically to catch it in the act. Hit like and subscribe. New video every week. Real trades, real code, real results, including the ones where the AI wasn't even the one that broke.